Off-Grid, a true story. Written by Magnus Leijon. A family leaves the Western rat race to pursue their lifelong dream to manage a tourist lodge in the rainforest. Unaware of the lodge's murderous past, they are pulled into a psychological game, unveiling the ultimate stake, life itself. Exterior jungle property, night. Dark silhouettes of banana leaves act as a parasol over the star-filled night sky. Frogs, grasshoppers, and other insects play in an orchestra synchronized to the blinking lights of the fireflies. In the grass below us, something moves. As we travel closer, a bright light appears for a second, revealing a firefly resting on a tall grass weed. The firefly jumps out into the air and spreads its wings. We move across the night through the eyes of the firefly. Every 3 seconds, we get a split second of light, displaying the tropical surroundings. Flash, the firefly flies through a small homemade soccer goal in the middle of a grass field. Flash, a tool shed with an empty bucket outside the entrance. Flash, a large lodge building. Flash, we almost crash into a large cluster of bananas. Flash, we fly over a cement walkway lined with smooth stones that winds its way to an outdoor shower complex with the light turned on outside of it. The hinged wooden door to the shower has a metal number 3 hanging upside down from a single nail. The door opens, and 2 legs step out. The back of a Caucasian man with a towel wrapped around his waist. He lights a flashlight and starts walking on the cement path. The jungle suddenly goes dead silent, and the man immediately stops in his steps. A metal bar swings through the air. The flashlight flies and hits the ground. It spins around until it finally stops and shines on the shower door with the upside-down number 3. We pan up to the naked, star-filled night sky. Interior trading floor, Stockholm, Sweden, day. A large, open, noisy trading floor is brightly lit and filled with over 100 desks in rows, all of which have 3 to 6 computer screens per desk. Each desk is occupied by men and women in suits or suit dresses, some talking on phones. The ceiling is high, with large flat-screen TVs hanging down, broadcasting global news. A phone is squeezed up to the neck of a blond man, Daniel, 35, Swedish Caucasian, dressed in a black suit and tie. Daniel flips the mute button on the side of the phone to on and focuses his attention to the Interbank trader who sits right in front of him. Note, conversation below is in Swedish with English subtitles.
My client is ready to go. I need a price now.
The market's moving. I don't know if I can dump all that risk.
Your job is to give me a price. Give me a fucking price.
The trader jumps to his feet.
This is a very hot potato. It can mess up our bonuses.
Should I tell the client you can't handle this?
The Interbank trader leans forward at his desk, staring at the screen.
Well, fuck it. I can do $1 billion at 14 and a quarter. Volatility still at 24 flat. Daniel, you better put some margin on this one.
Daniel types the number in his system. He breathes slow and controlled while he keeps the black phone glued to his chin. Dead serious. He flips the mute button on the phone.
I can cancel you 2 plain vanilla swaps at 500 mil each, traded at 4.03% and 4.6%, and bake in the negative PV into a 10-year performance swap with a 6% knockout. It'll lower your actual rate to 3.7% on quarterly actual 360 basis. Do you wish to execute?
Daniel looks up at the Interbank trader standing in front of him and waves his palm towards himself, a signal that the deal is done. The trader immediately turns around and starts to shout orders energetically to the people around him. Interior trading floor, restroom, day. Daniel sits down hard on the toilet seat that's jammed in between the walls. His face is red. His body starts to shake, and he has trouble breathing. He pulls down his tie and opens his top 2 shirt buttons to breathe easier. He starts to massage his forehead over his eyeball and closes his eyes. Flash. Beautiful rainforest paradise. Daniel stands, leaning over the sink, splashing water on his face. Flash. Water gushes over the edge of a waterfall. He stares deep into the mirror. Who is that pale, worn-down man that's reflected back at him? Daniel lifts his right index finger to one of the large, dark bags under his eyes. He touches one of them. Moves like jelly. He takes his phone out from his suit jacket and starts a text message to the contact, Emily. Can you pick up the girls? I have to take my team out to celebrate. Exterior, Swedish daycare, evening. Snowflakes fall down from the dark winter sky, swirling around in the shine from the streetlights. Slim, padded boots trudge quickly over the snow. A woman, Emily, 34, American Caucasian, who wears a thick, stylish winter hat, forces her way forward. On her hands, massive winter gloves. Emily moves her left glove down a bit and glances at her watch while passing under a streetlight. She tries to speed up her pace when a gust of wind almost stops her in her tracks and blows large snowflakes straight in her face. Emily pulls her large winter hat down even further so it almost fully covers her eyes, then leans forward and fights hard for every step she takes up to a gate. She pauses as a father walks out with his child, and they briefly greet each other. Outside a yellow wooden shack is a line of primarily empty spaces, except for 2 strollers. Emily grabs one of the strollers and breaks the wheels free from the ice encasing them. She looks tiny compared to the large stroller, and her petite frame struggles to pull the buggy over the bump of snow that encircles it. She drags the stroller behind her with all her might over the lumpy, icy sidewalk up to a covered entrance in front of a building. Emily closes the stroller's umbrella cover to access the seat inside and spreads out the lambskin blanket evenly underneath. Interior, Swedish daycare, evening. A thick exterior door is closed, and to the left of it, a large window displays strong winds of snow blowing outside. The door opens, and snow immediately blows inside as Emily pushes herself through the opening. The wind is so strong that she has to use 2 hands to close the door. She takes off her gloves and winter hat, revealing her clear blue eyes. Her hands are shining red, and she rubs them together to increase the blood flow. Emily kneels down to put on winter garments on a blonde little girl, Svea, 3, who keeps kicking her legs and making the challenge even harder. Next to them, a brown-haired girl, Annika, 6, who puts on her winter jacket by herself.
Mommy, did you play in the snow when you were little?
Emily stops and looks warmly at her oldest daughter.
In Texas? No, I didn't even own a jacket.
Svea continues to kick her legs, and her winter garments fall down on the floor.
I think snow is fun.
Emily starts all over with putting on Svea's winter garment.
Sometimes it can be.
Mommy, I forgot the picture I made for Papa.
Okay, hurry and get it.
Annika runs back inside the daycare and returns with the piece of paper in her hand. Emily stands up and stares through the window at the winter storm. She takes a deep breath, puts on her gloves, and grabs her daughter's gloved hands. Interior, Stockholm condo, hallway, night. Daniel opens the thick oak door into a wide, modern hallway. He appears a bit intoxicated. The clock on the wall says 2:11 a.m. On the floor, kids' winter garments lay spread out to dry on the heated tile. He hangs up his coat and scarf in a hurry and takes off his shoes. They're wet from the snow. Someone has taped a paper drawing on the hallway mirror. The drawing of a girl holding an adult man's hand, surrounded by wild animals. Under the young girl, the name Annika, and under the male adult, Papa. Below the mirror lies the mail. Besides 5 envelopes containing bills, there's a postcard with an image of a tropical rainforest stating, "Greetings from Hummingbird Lodge." As Daniel reads it, a brief smile emerges on his lips. "Daniel, it was great to finally meet when you visited the lodge. The offer still stands. You are my #1 choice to run the business. I hope to meet Emily and the girls soon. Bill." Interior, Stockholm condo. Kitchen. Dawn. Daniel stands in front of the coffee maker, newly showered with a towel wrapped around his waist, patiently waiting for the coffee to brew. He's obviously very tired, and it's still dark outside. He glances at the oven clock. It's 5:55 a.m. While pouring 2 cups of coffee, he notices a half-dead plant on the counter. Next to it lies the postcard that arrived last night. He takes a sip of coffee and then pours some on the plant before picking up the second mug together with the postcard. Interior, Stockholm condo, living room, dawn. Emily sleeps on the living room sofa with a laptop on her belly. Daniel sets down the mugs on the coffee table, takes a seat next to her, and caresses her cheek.
Did you wake up again in the night?
Emily nods and sits up.
I had to finish some stuff for work anyhow.
Daniel hands her the coffee. He sighs and takes a seat opposite from her.
I don't think I can be on the trading floor anymore.
I know.
10 years of this stress, it's killing me. And for what?
He looks at her, exhausted, and hands her this postcard.
Bill still wants us to run his place.
Yeah, I saw that.
Part of me just wants to go for it. Give all this materialistic shit the finger.
Emily moves closer and grabs his hand.
Babe, you started telling your mom about living in the rainforest when you were what, like 6?
Yeah, I was 7.
Bill offers us a chance to fulfill that dream.
Well, the thing is, if I walk away from the floor, there's no turning back.
You don't want it anyway. We'll have more time together as a family and not freeze to death.
Are we sure?
I've done my research. It'll work.
Okay then. Let's call Bill this weekend. Cheers.
Daniel moves his coffee mug to hers, and they clink them together in a toast, bursting out in laughter. Interior, Stockholm condo, living room, day. 3 months later. The condo was empty, except for a few boxes lined up, taped and marked. Daniel stands on a ladder, taking down a light fixture with a screwdriver. Next to the boxes sit 3 open suitcases, with Emily on her knees in front of them, thoroughly packing down baby blankets next to some of the girls' favorite toys. Svea is by her side, holding her pink teddy bear.
You want me to pack, Teddy?
Svea shakes her head and squeezes her teddy bear tighter. Annika runs into the room with more books than she can carry, and they start to slip out of her arms.
Don't forget my books.
The top book is called Amazing Animals of the Rainforest. Behind her, Svea starts taking out items from a nearby box.
Well, I wouldn't dare.
Annika zips up and tries to roll one of the suitcases by the handle, while Svea takes out a pair of boxing gloves.
Svea, please put them back.
Daniel steps down from the ladder.
Nah, let her play with them. I won't need those anymore.
He approaches Emily and starts to massage her shoulders. His face shines with excitement, like that of a child waking up on Christmas Day. Through the window behind them, thick snow is falling. Exterior, Belize Airport. Entrance, exit. Day. A set of large glass doors open, and the family steps out of the airport into the bright, warm sunshine, together with a slow stream of tourists. Trailing behind Daniel and Emily, on a cart, sit 3 suitcases, a child's car seat, and a child's booster seat. Not far from the exit entrance stands an elderly man with a gray ponytail, Bill, 60s, pointing out directions on a large map together with 2 newly arrived tourists. They nod in appreciation and wave goodbye. Bill turns around towards the exit entrance. Around his waist is a black fanny pack.
Bill!
Daniel, my friend, welcome back. And Emily, a pleasure to finally meet you.
Bill hugs Emily and leans backwards with his arms wide open, smiling. Then he bends down to greet the girls. Annika is wiggling a loose tooth.
You want me to pull that for you?
Annika shakes her head, smiling, knowing it's a joke. Emily puts one hand on her shoulder, then another hand on Svea's.
This is Annika and Svea.
Bill reaches out and surprises Svea by lifting her up over his shoulders to sit, revealing fine-tuned arm muscles sticking out of his sleeveless black t-shirt. He turns to Daniel.
How was the trip?
Yeah, it went real smooth, and the kids got a lot of sleep.
A perfect start, then.
He lets go of one of Svea's legs and points to a rugged white Toyota Highlander, parked 50 yards away. City montage. Day. Busy, chaotic street. A grown man sitting on a small bike sucking on a lollipop next to a fruit stand. Some guy throwing a plastic bottle on the street. He lands next to some junk nearby a group dancing to some music in the street. A white Toyota Highlander travels through the open grassland that mimics a savanna towards a silhouette of mountains. The car passes a warning sign with a peculiar-looking animal. Interior, Bill's car, day. Emily leans forward from the back seat, pointing to a sign.
What is that, an anteater?
It's a tapir, the national animal and the tiger's favorite food.
There are no tigers here.
Bill glances up at the rearview mirror.
You are right, Annika, but the locals call the jaguars tigers, and there are plenty of them where we're heading.
The car travels through the mountains. On the side of the road stands a group of Mennonites dressed in 19th century clothing next to their horse and wagon. They stare at them with absolutely no emotion.
How about theft?
Emily glances down at the girls who are consumed in their imaginative game using Playmobil figures.
We haven't had many problems. Alejandro makes sure of that.
More buildings appear on the sides. One of them is freshly painted with police written on its side.
I had that police building painted.
Emily turns to view the minimalistic but colorful police station.